Hey, hi, it's Peter from Watch Retrospect. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, today I want to talk about a couple of Christopher Ward watches that I've been fortunate to acquire over the past year. Um, Two that are both in that sport watch range. One here that you're looking at is my Sealander C63 GMT. This one here is a 39 millimeter. It comes in three different colors. It comes in this, a white, and they added what they call Dragonfly Blue just a few months ago, which is pretty outstanding if you're into blue dials. But Christopher Ward does black really well, very well, in fact. And so I really do like the black dialed one. I have never really been a white dial guy, but this watch is very popular in the white dial, since it kind of gives it that Rolex Explorer 2 vibe, like the Arctic, the Arctic white one that they make. So, but personally, I've always been a black dial guy, so I went with the black one. But anyway, this is the GMT, and I like to compare it to another one I've already done a piece on before, which is my C60. This is the Diver, the Pro 300, they call it, and it's a 300-meter watch. Where they originally were making these Tridents, they had a Trident 600-meter watch, and they kind of, just listening to their customers, people really wanted a thinner watch. So what they did was they actually downsized this. They actually downsized it and made it a lot thinner than the original 600-meter Tridents were. And that's one thing, I think the biggest feature of these Tridents is their wearability, how sleek they fit. And that's really one of the strong points of this watch. I think it's one of the most wearable watches. But anyway, both of these do have that same type of case. The dimensions are a little bit different here, obviously. The dive watch is about 47.5 meters lug to lug, while the Sealander is 46, so about 1.5 millimeters is in length that you get extra on the on the dive watch. Now the dive watch is actually it's a 0.5 millimeter slimmer, but it fits more than that, than the Sealander. I think when you see them side by side, you'll notice that this is just a sleeker, longer watch, where the Sealander is just a little bit stubbier. Both fit really incredibly well, but this thing is above and beyond the way its wearability. I find this is one of the most wearable watches that I have. But anyway, the cases are, again, the same design, pretty well known here, this light catcher case. And it really plays with the light quite well. And then along with the way they do the indices, and the same thing, the indices on these two dials are placed a little bit different, because this one here kind of blends right into the chapter ring, where you'll see on the Sealander it's a little bit different. But they're the same dual. They're both brushed and polished indices, and this camera work would never show you this really. But right on the edge, the very edge, the inner edge facing the center of the watch, those indices have a high polish to it, and they will just glisten when they catch the light. And this thing, if you get it rotating and stuff, it just sparkles with these the way they do this light catcher. So they call it a light catcher case, but the dial does just as well as the job in catching the light. It's really, really fabulous. So as far as the handset and the indices, they're pretty much the same. One difference you're going to find on the Sealander that I really do like is here where the date is. It's got the frame. It's got that white frame around it. Draws attention to it. Whereas on the Sealander, we'll take a look at that one now. You're going to see that that's a little more stealth. One thing that Christopher Ward does really well is they match their date dial, their date wheel, with the color of the dial. I mean, this is black, so it's black and black, obviously, but if you had a blue one or a green one, the date wheel is going to match. Christopher Ward is great like that. This one here doesn't have that white frame like I just showed you on the dive watch, so to me it's a little stealthier. I kind of really like that. Comparing the dials, they're both outstanding. They do black so well. The Sealander makes me smile a little bit more. Just it has that, obviously, that GMT hand, which really gives it that orange pop. And another thing too, which I really like, is if you look closely to the chapter ring, is that at the 5 minute mark, 5 second marks, 5 minute marks either way, you have that little orange splash, that little square there, which just really adds a lot of liveliness to the dial. Of course, I can't really see those unless I got my readers on. So, but no, it's an outstanding, very, very nice style. Both of them are. This does have that extra orange pop, which is nice. One thing I like about this too is the way they do the GMT hand. The GMT hand is kind of the bottom half of the hand is painted black, so it kind of blends in with the dial. So it looks like that orange arrow is almost suspended there along the chapter ring. And there's never, ever, ever any confusion about the hour hand and the minute hand, what I'm looking at when I'm looking at time. And the only reason I say that is because I do, in fact, have like 3 dive watches that have orange minute hands. And I've gone on record before saying I really like orange minute hands on a dive watch, on a 3-hand dive watch. And you look at it and you can see that time instantly. But I never, ever, and I thought about it when I got this watch, if that would confuse me, but no, that doesn't at all. And of course, both watches have the Trident, counterweight on the second hand. Love that. One thing this watch does lack, it has a little orange paint on the tip of the second hand, but there is no lume on that. Whereas the dive watch has got the red second hand, and along with the lume on it. And they're just both outstanding. I mean, obviously. The bezels are different, just being a dive watch. This bezel is absolutely beautiful. The sound on it is spectacular. I really, really love the bezel on here. And I also like that little they got this little inner chapter ring that you got here. And this little chapter ring here with the minute markings is dead balls on. I mean, it lines up perfectly, and it's a 120 click. So you turn it, and it goes in between the lines for each half click. So you know exactly where your bezel is. You know exactly where your bezel is, and it's there's no back play in it at all. It's a nice little feature, a little bit different. You don't see that too often on watches. Whereas, of course, on the Sealander, you have the fixed 24-hour bezel. And on that one there, that's obviously fixed. What I really like about this bezel is how low-key it is compared to the before-mentioned Explorer 2, where that on the Rolex Explorer 2, that bezel's like really in your face and really big. And here I just like it's a little more laid back. Doesn't, it's just not the main feature where it really sticks out on, like I said, on the Explorer. And, to me, I mean, this is a GMT watch, and I'm sure a lot of people are buying this watch as a GMT if they're either a traveler or they work in an office and need to, they call worldwide. They're great for that. But I bet you 80% of us buying a GMT buy it because, hey, I need a GMT in my collection. I do use this. I keep this in like Europe time. So when I'm dealing with Christopher Ward or other watch companies in Europe or England, so I do utilize it. But first and foremost, this is a watch to me. So I want to be able to tell time. So the fact that the bezel's a little bit it's not in your face like on that Explorer 2. And I do kind of like that. But, either way, both of these watches are just really outstanding dials. I've have found that the way they do these indices is just outstanding. You get it out in the light. It's just fabulous. Another thing about Christopher Ward that is outstanding is their clasps. Their clasps are, for this price range, and when I say this price range, I like to think of the like $900 to $1,200 price range. And this has got that on-the-fly adjustment, and it is so nice. You grab it. You've seen it before. You grab it, and there's no odd, ugly extensions or anything. This thing just slides. I'm a little awkward here. Let me flip hands, and you can see the way this slides in. There's absolutely no ugly extension coming out or anything like that. It's just really nice. And the way they do that, I think all watches should have that feature. If they're able to do it for $1,000, other companies can. But the outstanding bracelets, great feel to them. One thing about Christopher Ward is they keep updating their bracelets. Now this one here has got a double screw set up where there's a double screw here, one on each side. You're familiar with that. It's like a tube that's threaded. It's got the screw head on one side, and on the inside, the other side of the tube, it has a female thread, and it's like a cap that goes in there, like a plug that goes in there. And you need 2 hands, really 3 hands to do it. That's the problem with them. But they have upgraded on the newer watch, and they're really good like that. They listen to their customers, and they listen. People wanted screws, so they gave them screws. People wanted better screws, so they gave them better screws. Now they're a one-piece screw on the dive watch that I have, the Trident, which I got, like I said, within 2 months ago. and they got nice, really flush screws. You can see how flush these screws are. Let me get this focused here. And you can, the way, the machining that they do on this is just really outstanding. And for $1,000 watch, it's just above and beyond, if you ask me. But anyway, the clasps are outstanding on both of them. I think, again, I've said it before. You know, obviously you're not going to go wrong with either one of these watches, but just looking at them side by side, I think the biggest thing that I find with them is the wearability on the dive watch is this. The thing, the side profile of it's just so stretched out. You can really see it from the other side, the non-crown side, and you can see that, how that looks. And now compare that to the Sealander. And the Sealander is just to me, a little stubbier. I don't want to call it a stubby watch, but it definitely fits a little stubbier. And so it's a little top heavier. And it's weird because it's only a 0.5 millimeter thicker according to the specs, but it has a feel of just being a thicker, taller watch, which is fine. This thing still fits outstandingly. It's a great watch. But personally, when I go for either one of them, I really do seem to go for the diver just because of the way it fits. It's just so sleek and so close fitting to the wrist. It's an outstanding watch. You wouldn't go wrong with either one of them, with the warranty that they give you, with the quality that you get, because these hit way above their price in my book. I know there's other great $1,000 watches out there. I have no doubt. I haven't owned them all, you know, but you listen to the reviews on these. Everybody raves about these watches, and I don't think you would go wrong with either one. Christopher Ward has proved to be a really good company, at least with me, as far as their customer service. Always get a quick response from them, and they let me, actually I swapped this one. I did buy as a blue diver, the one in my left hand. I originally bought as blue, and I was able to send it back for the black one. So they were really outstanding in that sense as well. But either way, you would never go wrong with either one of these watches. Maybe there's something here I just said that might help you if you're deciding between these two styles. Again, one's a GMT and one's a diver, so right off the bat you probably know which one you would go for. But they're both a sport watch. They're both outstanding values for the money. The GMT, I believe, is about $11.95 currently. No, excuse me. Yeah, they're $1,100 on the diver. $1,100 on the diver, and I think about $12.25. I think on the GMT. That's the retail price. Christopher Ward sometimes runs specials, or sometimes if you're a first-time buyer, they may offer a coupon if you reach out to them. But yeah, outstanding watches. You wouldn't go wrong with either one, as I've said a few times. Really, really appreciate you stopping by. My name's Peter. This is Watch Retrospect, and if you decide to go with one of these, you will definitely love it. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Thank you.